So Kristin, I'd like for you to just start by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about what you do.
Well, my name is Kristin Hill. I'm an applied graduate from Kent State, applied communication graduate from Kent State. I am currently a multicultural recruitment coordinator and admissions rep, something of a dual role.
And where is that? What university?
At the University of Mount Union in Alliance, Ohio.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So what do you do in that job? What does it entail?
Well, during the fall semester, I'm more of an admissions rep, so I'm pretty much trying to recruit students, seniors, and get them to apply, help them through the process. And then in the spring, I go to more of the multicultural recruitment position, where I am dealing with a lot of our students who may have different backgrounds and different struggles as far as retention rates and getting through the initial process of coming to college. So I'm just sort of their support system to get them to the next step.
Great, that's wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about the process of interviewing for that? Like, you know, rewind from the point of graduation to where you are now. Like, what sorts of steps did it take for you to get to there?
Well, when I graduated, I had somewhat delusions of grandeur that the job would be waiting for me.
We all do.
The dream job. And actually, I spent quite a few months interviewing and at different positions, some of which were not in communication. I even interviewed at a bank. But I got an email actually from Chris Pavloy. He works here at Kent, and he sent me an email that Mount Union was looking for a multicultural recruitment coordinator. So I sent my resume and cover letter, and it took about maybe 2 weeks, and I heard back from them. From that point, we had a phone interview, and that was about maybe 20-30 minutes long. Then I didn't hear anything again for a few weeks. And then I had an in-person interview, and that was on campus, and I had to actually give a presentation during that interview. And they said that I could choose a topic of my choice, and I could use PowerPoint or whatever visual aids I wanted. And the entire admissions office was there, and I know it was a little daunting. And they all sat in a circle, almost a semicircle around me, so it was a little intimidating. But I gave the presentation on what it is to be multicultural and what are some of the struggles that a multicultural student may have. After the presentation, then I met with the director, and from there they, you know, kind of sent me on my way. We'll be in touch. And so a few weeks later they called me back in, and this time I interviewed with the vice president of admissions. And so at that point I'm thinking, okay, this is really good. This is the 4th time they've called me to this building. And so I kind of made a little mistake by thinking I had the job before I had the job. And I sent an email to the director after I interviewed with the vice president saying, oh, thank you so much, and this is such a great opportunity. And she said, well, we're going to the next step, but it's not, I haven't offered you a job. Oops. So
hey, and they still hired you.
They still hired me, which is a good sign. But even after that, the next step in the process was for them to review my transcript. So the final stage of it all is I went back to admissions. I brought my transcripts. I sat down with the director. She reviewed them. And then the next day, she actually offered me the job.
Awesome, wonderful. So I think that really illustrates, though. I mean, higher education it's a huge industry that people don't consider going into, but it's different from getting hired at just like a big corporation. So.
Very much so. And even before I came here to Kent, I was I worked in culinary for 9 years, and in that industry, by the second interview, you've got the job. And there's not a whole lot of, you know, you meet the vice president, you kind of meet everybody one time, and if they like you, you're hired, and if you're not, you're not.
So could you talk for just a few minutes then about your communication degree and how, like, was it a hard sell? Was it an easy sell with this job? And what sorts of skills are you using in communication towards that job?
I think it was an easy sell because in admissions, you have to be able to connect with all students. For me, I do have to connect with multicultural students, but I also have to connect with any other student. So being able to communicate is crucial. One of the things I think that I'm using the most that I learned from my communication courses is organization and prioritizing. If you do not utilize both of those things, you're not going to be effective in your job, at least where admissions is concerned. So.
What about like the day-to-day sorts of tasks? I mean, talk a little bit about the events you go to, you know, the speaking that you do?
Because of the multicultural aspect, I go to a lot of diversity events and different lectures and seminars that are given at our university and on other campuses. But mostly I'm dealing with students. I'm calling students, I'm answering the questions their parents have, guidance counselors, processing applications, following up with high risk, so to speak, students who may have struggles with essay writing or filling out the application. So mainly I deal with my students.
Yeah. So basically you went to college to learn how to go to college,
yes.
right?
I went to college to teach others how to go to college.
It's brilliant. I mean, that's sort of what I did too, so I fully understand that. So in the few minutes we have left, can you just let us know if there's any advice that you would give to someone who's sort of finding their way to communication, or even those folks who are getting ready to get out of this you know, university and head out to the real world?
I would think the best advice I could give anyone is to be comfortable in their own skin. If you are going to communicate, the best way to effectively do that is to be authentic and to be genuine. And the only way you can communicate genuinely is if you believe in what you're saying. So to really do your homework and know, number one, your audience, who you're talking to, and the message that you want to get across would be the first step. And then obviously to have that confidence to actually speak in front of people, because I know that's something a lot of communication majors, no one wants to get up in speech class. High impact speaking is a scary course for everybody. But
what's the biggest group of people you've spoken to in this job?
120.
Oh my goodness. I rarely have to talk to 120 people. So.
And I was scared in front of 12 in some of my undergrad courses. So now it's okay.
Got comfortable.
I'm very comfortable with it now.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Kristin. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.